My very first memories of Gandhiji was as a child in our prayer room, where my father would sit with us every evening and perform the Satya ceremonies, where we worship God together as family. There was a picture of Gandhiji along with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. As a child, I didn't quite understand the philosophy of Gandhiji, nor did I fully understand and appreciate the movement for freedom in India, which he was leading at the time. But I knew in my heart that he was a man of great importance and that he was to be adored the very way that we adored the devtas or the gods in our home. And this image of Gandhiji, who later, of course, I also got to know was called Bapuji, father of a nation, and still later I got to know was a leader of the world community, those engaged in the fight for social justice and for freedom. He was a leader and icon to all of them. For me at that time though, he was just a person worthy of worship and honor. I had the good fortune of going to India as a young man. At a time in the 1960s when Gandhiji's influence was very much still around, and so was the influence of Pandit Nehru. This was the new India that was being constructed under the guidance of Pandit Nehru, but inspired by many of the things that Gandhiji taught India and taught the world as India moved from being a colony of the British Empire to gaining its freedom in 1947. And when I now reflect on what I learned at that time, I learned about the philosophy of Gandhiji. Still, the full meaning and importance of the philosophy was not obvious to me at that time because I was a young man and I had diverse interests and I was of course seeking an education. So I listened to my friends, I listened to elders, I met with people who actually took part in the Satyagraha movement, people who actually marched with Gandhiji, and I heard what they had to say, and I also saw in them a passion and a reverence for Gandhiji that is even today unbelievable. It is not surprising that one of the other greats of this world in which we live, Einstein said that generations to come would scarce believe that one such as Mahatma Gandhiji walked this earth in flesh. So, what does Gandhiji mean for me now that I am much older? He means a whole lot of things. Because in him, I find echoes of the voice of the ancients. Gandhiji spoke about truth, and he wrote that verily truth is God. His movement, Satyagraha, or holding on to the truth at any cost, is something that inspired a world movement for freedom, that inspired such people as Nelson Mandela and Dr. Martin Luther King. But it inspires me today even, for I know in my heart that the echoes of the ancient saints, which Gandhiji repeated, the truth will really set us free in the end. And that is something that I have come to believe and that guides me in my everyday work, my practice. There is also the Ahimsa movement, the movement for non-violence. For the world has always been torn in wars and strife, and there's been much suffering as a consequence of many wars that people have fought over territory and power and prestige. But Gandhiji showed the world that there was an alternative to violence. This movement of Ahimsa, of course, also has roots in India, deep roots in India. And Gandhiji was again repeating the theme of the Upanishads and of the Buddhist movements, people who preached an alternate way to conflict resolution. I, in my personal life, also do believe that the only way in which we can build better nations, better communities, is through the way of peace. And Gandhiji therefore has left this indelible mark upon me that I should seek the truth and speak the truth and live the truth, and that I should also live a life seeking my own peace, and then peace among family and members of my community, and peace in the larger society. So this really has been the impact of Gandhiji on me. There are other ways in which Gandhiji has impacted my life. When I was in India, I applied and was fortunate to receive an ICCR scholarship. That's the Indian Council for Cultural Relations scholarship. I studied in India. I saw firsthand the influence of Gandhiji, as I've already spoken about, everywhere I went in India. And later when I came back to Trinidad and Tobago, many years after I had returned to this country and had done things that I felt I needed to do. I dabbled a little bit in politics, in medicine, in social work, in cultural work. After having done all those things, I developed very close links with the High Commission of India here in Trinidad and Tobago, and with the Indian Council for Cultural Relations through its Mahatma Gandhi Institute in Trinidad and Tobago. And this institute, of course, named after Babuji Gandhiji, continues to do excellent work in Trinidad and Tobago in promoting certain values and the cultural traditions of Bharatvarsha, the cultural traditions of India. So even today, as I speak about Gandhiji, I am fully aware of his impact in almost every field of endeavor. I know as a medical doctor that he also emphasized good health as a very important thing, and he had his own methods. Of course, I am trained in allopathy, but notwithstanding, I respect the fact that he felt that you needed a totally healthy person, healthy in body, healthy in mind, healthy in spirit, in order to take the world forward. And so, in this message, I actually wish to salute Bapuji, father of a nation, leader of a world, for all that he has done for us and the way he inspired generations and will continue to inspire generations to come.